All right, girls, thank you guys for your patience. We were in the middle of a system upgrade and we are so glad that it worked beautifully and now we can fit all of you guys onto our site with no issues, hopefully. So let me know if you like this, if we're good. I think we're good. I mean, I'm seeing it on our end and it looks pretty amazing. So thank you guys for hanging in there. I know a lot of you are ready with your notepads and pens, ready to take down all these notes. If you guys have models with you or sisters with you or someone with you, feel free to just, go ahead and do this with me. I'm gonna introduce you to my model right now. She has come from the Bay Area, and her Instagram, let me show you her Instagram. I tagged her in the video. You guys loved the video. I already know it totally went viral and she looks absolutely amazing. You guys saw her on my Snapchat yesterday too. And her page is right down here. It's Pavleen Bajwa. And you guys, oh, well, you know what? I'll just spell it out for you. It's Pavleen Bajwa, Bajwa. And you can totally stalk her and love her. And she is a fashion model. She does runway and stuff all the time. She's done Indian fashion shows in the Bay Area. And now she's with me in LA for today to do the show for you guys. So, hello. We're super excited. It's just been an amazing couple days together and we've been going over this look and she was one of the volunteers that decided to volunteer herself when I had called out a casting call on my Snapchat. So that was really cool. I love meeting you guys. So, anytime you guys see a casting call, if you guys are interested, especially you guys out there as my members, if you guys are interested in ever modeling for me, when I have a casting call looking for specific characteristics, and if you fit any of those characteristics for that class, I'd love to meet you, especially if you guys see me all the time. So it's like we already have this relationship, kind of cool. So as you can see, I did her hair already off screen. And the cool news is you guys get to learn the hair step by step next week. So this week is the makeup portion, part 1. Next week is the bonus hair portion, part 2. Next week is not going to be live like today. It's going to be pre-recorded from what we did yesterday, and it's a really lengthy, very detailed class, and it is amazing. You guys are literally going to be mind blown on how beautiful this ends up looking, and it's not very complicated, but it is a little time consuming, so I hope you guys do recreate it and everything as well. But this look is, I have many different names for it. As you can see, the homepage had one name, my Instagram had one name, but I think I like that whole exotic sunset eye. I think that's what describes this eye so beautifully. So let's just go right into it. I don't want to keep you guys waiting. I'm just going to jump right in. Let me have you stand up real quick. I'm going to raise the chair. Okay, go ahead and sit down. I think that's good. Okay, so we are going to zoom in and I will show you products right next to her, so you guys can screenshot them and never be confused on what I'm using. I always want to be very transparent on the items that I'm using, why I'm using them, as well as the brushes that I'm using them with. So first things first, she has combination skin and we are using full coverage products to even out the skin tone, cover up any discoloration, any scarring, uneven texture and tone, and it's literally going to look flawless just like it did in the video. It literally looks like it's photoshopped in person. It's so beautiful. So first things first, I just throw on some primer. So the primer that I'm going to use is just the basic MAC Prep and Prime. This is from, it's the original one. It's not the one with any SPF in it. It doesn't have any shimmer in it. It's just the original Prep and Prime. And I'm just gonna smooth it all over the skin. And I'm gonna make sure I'm not skipping over any areas at all. I really wanna make sure it just goes everywhere. And I'm really massaging it. Beautiful. Get the forehead. And one thing that I noticed about the MAC Prep and Prime it's actually really good for all skin types, whether you're combination, oily, or a little bit more on the dry side. It has worked for all of my clients really beautifully, and it does not make your skin more oily, which is interesting because usually you'd want to go for something that says oil control or like something like that. But the MAC Prep and Prime seems to work extremely well for even my most oily skin clients. So I do really enjoy using this product in my kit. So now that this is on, I have a second primer that I'm going to use, and that is the POREfessional. This is from Benefit Cosmetics, and this is a primer balm which minimizes the appearance of pores and uneven skin texture. So I'm going to apply this on the areas where I feel like the texture is the most uneven. So around the outer parts of the cheek right here and a little bit around the T-zone and forehead is where I'm going to be concentrating this product, just to go on as smooth as possible. So we're really just kind of pressing it into the skin, right along any of the areas of the forehead that need a little extra love. And never forget the lovely T-zone and the chin. Okay, so now we have prepped the skin enough. We are ready for the foundation. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna mix MAC and Cinema Secrets. My first layer is going to be MAC NC42 foundation, MAC NC42. And I'm just gonna use a pretty liberal amount onto the back of my hand. Just make sure your hands are sanitized when you're using your hands for anything. I always carry hand sanitizer with me in my kits, in all of my bathrooms, in my studios, just in case. And I'm using the Morphe Duo Fiber Foundation Brush. And I'm literally just pressing in a nice full coverage layer of this foundation. Now the reason why I like to, for those of you who are new to DYFL, the reason why I like to stipple and press in the foundation instead of circling it and buffing it is because when you're circling it and buffing it, you're actually wiping off a lot of the product that you're putting on, and you're creating streaks and you're creating some weird uneven layers of foundation. When you're pushing it in, you're forcing it to settle into lines, into creases, into pores, or whatever else we're trying to do. So to create a very flawless texture, you need to stipple the product into the skin to fill in anything that's uneven. So we're just stippling. We're gonna stipple until we notice that the foundation is seeping into the skin really nicely and evenly. So I don't wanna see any super, super wet areas, shiny areas. I wanna keep stippling until I see that the shine is starting to go away and the foundation is starting to settle in. So same on this side, I'm just gonna stipple, stipple, stipple until I see that this product is settling really nicely into her skin, especially around the perimeters of the forehead, edges of the jaw, and any areas that look too heavy or too wet, just keep dabbing until the product looks like it's drying a little bit. I also like to not be so close to my client when I'm working, because when you're a little farther out, first of all, it's less awkward. And second of all, when you're a little farther, you can kind of see the whole picture a little bit better, and you can tell if there's areas that aren't even or areas that need a little bit more blending. You can tell a little bit better when it's a little farther away. So I like to be a little far. So right now we have our base foundation on. Whatever's left on my brush, I am gonna bring it down to the neck because I really wanna make sure that everything looks the same, especially when you're wearing a full coverage foundation. Even if it's a great match for your client, it's never gonna match the neck unless you put some stuff on the neck too. So it's very important when you're gonna go this heavy on the face, just to add whatever's left on the brush on the neck just to even out the color. So now that that's done, I want to whip out one of my favorite palettes. This is the original Cinema Secrets palette in kit number 3. Kit number 3 is a warm kit. It has all the olive, not the olive, but like the golden tan undertones, which is what she falls under. And it has some lights and some darks, which are awesome for highlighting contour. Cinema Secrets has changed their packaging since then. I do have the new ones, but I haven't run out of the old ones yet, so I'm going to continue using these until I run out, and then I'm going to whip out my new ones. But for now, I'm showing you this one in case they do have the same colors. This kit is foundation kit number 3, okay? And what I'm going to be using is some of the middle tones, just a couple of the middle tones to create her custom color. And I'm going to add a nice, generous pat down over her base foundation. So this is actually a product that is considered stage makeup. So it is very full coverage, and it actually has great colors in their whole line. So if you want to go through their whole line, I do recommend getting different palettes of different skin tones because they have a very, very big range. But what's amazing is that they can even cover tattoos. Because it's so full coverage, you can cover scars, tattoos, discoloration, literally anything you want to cover, you can cover with this. Look how amazing. It's like paint. But you definitely want to pat it in just like I've been doing this whole time so that it does not end up getting too gummy or thick on the skin. Not that it would, even if you went really thick, it just gets a little slimy or wet. But you just want to push it in so that it doesn't feel as heavy or as like thick on your client's skin. They feel a lot better when they can breathe a little bit through it. So we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Push, push, push. Dabbing it right in there. This is the same foundation brush, by the way. I'm so sorry that I don't know the number of this brush. If any of you guys know the number, please list it on her video post on my page on Instagram, because I know a lot of you were asking exactly what number it is. I can definitely go on the Morphe website and check it for you, but I always forget. So check that out. I know that it's called the Duo Fiber Foundation Brush or Duo Fiber Face Brush. I'm just not sure which exact number it is because they may have different versions of this brush on their website. So if you go to morphebrushes.com, you're gonna go under different brush collections. You'll click on the Duo Fiber collection, and then you'll see this among the first few that are on that page. And remember to use my discount code so that you can save extra money on Morphe brushes. My discount code is DYF, super easy to remember, and it'll grant you a lovely discount. So again, I'm just pressing in, dabbing in for a beautiful full coverage effect. And now I'm going to be using the same color on the exposed area of her neck. This also works as body makeup. So if anyone has any scars on their body or discoloration on their body, you can absolutely use this stuff on the body and set it with a little bit of translucent powder or even Studio Fix powder is fine to set it with. That's what I did in the video, and it ends up not transferring. So it ends up looking really, really nice. Okay, so this is nice and full. This is as heavy as I would like to go as far as the foundation. I know it looks crazy heavy right now, but once the powder is on, it's gonna mattify, it's gonna look even more perfect. So don't worry about how crazy it looks right now. I know it looks like yellow and a little nuts, but I promise you it will look absolutely stunning by the time we are done with the face. So now I'm gonna use the darker color from the same palette. So same palette, so right now, I've used these 3 middle colors. I've mixed the 3 middle ones to create her perfect base. Now I'm going to use this darkest color to start contouring the edges of her face. So I'm going to use this concealer brush, Morphe 428. This is the Morphe 428 concealer brush. And I'm going to go into this darkest color. And I'm just going to create my dark edging with this brush along the perimeter of her forehead. Okay, so we have this dark edging going on. I am also gonna do a little bit of contouring on the cheekbone. Mind you, I'm not doing too much. I just wanna do a small amount. And the reason why I'm using the Cinema Secrets is because it's more wet. There's more playtime involved. When you're using a concealer like LA Girl Cosmetics or Pro Longwear by MAC, it's gonna dry faster. And then when you're rubbing it to blend it, it's gonna remove all that hard work you did underneath it, and then the acne scars are exposed again. So for those of you who are looking for full coverage to cover, whatever it is you wanna cover, whether it's freckles or acne marks or any type of birthmark or whatever it is you wanna cover, if it's all over the face, what you definitely want to do is, instead of using concealers to highlight and contour, you should definitely use something more wet and creamy like this, like the Cinema Secrets. That way when we're blending, we don't have to rub so hard. It just melts right into the skin and everything looks perfect and we're good to go. Okay, so now that we have a little bit of that going on, I'm going to just add a little bit to the sides of the nose. So we have a little bit of contouring going on there. I'm gonna add a little bit just to the bottom of the lip here. And those are all the places I'm gonna contour. Now with the same brush, I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Pro Longwear concealer just under her eyes, just to brighten up her under eye area. I'm gonna mix NC42 concealer, NC42 MAC Pro Longwear. So this is the NC42, and this is the NC45, which is darker. So I'm gonna put a drop of NC42 on the back of my hand. I'm also gonna put a drop of NC45 on the back of my hand. So now we have both right here. And I'm going to just use the edge, not the whole thing. I'm not mixing the whole thing together. I'm just using the edge to mix. And we're gonna pat it around her eye area. Notice that it's quite orange. And that's because I want to conceal any darkness that is there. Okay. So I'm just patting that in. And I'm also going to use a little bit more of this darker NC45, which is more orange. I'm going to use it around the lips because I'm noticing that with a lighter foundation, it starts to look gray. So I'm going to use this darker concealer, this more orange concealer, around the lips and the chin so that it doesn't look gray or it doesn't look discolored. It just looks, very even and very healthy looking. So a lot of times what happens is if you are of Indian descent like we are, or if you have any discoloration or pigmentation on your skin, if you're gonna use a light color foundation or concealer, everything just tends to turn gray and look very dull. But using a concealer or a product that has enough orange in it will really make it look more healthy again. Check that out. Okay, so now that we're done patting concealer in there, and we're also done with the contouring application, we're ready to blend everything. So I'm going to use, this is her own beauty blender that we used yesterday. The same one, and she can keep it after class so she could practice at home. And this is a dry beauty blender, so it's not wet. And what I'm doing is I'm just absorbing excess product right now under the eye, absorbing that excess product so that it really just dries and seeps in and doesn't crease or go crazy. And once I'm done absorbing, now I can go in around the perimeter and start blending her contour. And it blends in so easy. As you can tell, the Cinema Secrets palettes don't dry unless you set it. So we have playtime with her contouring blending. I think this looks amazing. And we haven't even done the powder yet. Okay, now I'm just absorbing and blending the nose contour and absorbing everything else. You can use the back of the egg to absorb products, mattify, whatever you need to do. So at this point, everything's looking really cool, really even. Now we're ready to set everything with powders. It's gonna be insane how much we're gonna set it, but believe me, it's going to make a huge difference. It's really gonna be worth it. So I'm gonna go into this color called NC41. I got this in Dubai. I'm not sure if it's available in other countries, this color, but if you do not have NC41, in the US, we don't have it. I had to get it overseas, obviously. But if you like this color or if you're similar toned, you could get away with NC40 or NC42, which is just a little bit darker. NC41 is just right in the middle. And I'm gonna go in with my Dose of Colors setting powder brush, and I'm going to set her under eye zone with this color. Just for now, notice that it's not a really light color. It's a little bit more bronzy, but the point of this is to set it with a color that has more color in it rather than gray, because we just don't want it to look ashy. And we still have to do highlight with powder and contour with powder. So right now, my focus is just setting her makeup. Okay, so I'm gonna go around her lips. I'm gonna go right in her T-zone here. Beautiful. All right. Now I'm also gonna go in with my MAC 109 brush. This is the MAC 109, it's like a fluff ball. And I'm gonna set everything underneath her contour line. So this is the area underneath her contour line. This is her whole jaw area. So I'm just setting that and setting that. I like this brush a lot because it pushes product in larger spaces without being so fluffy that it ends up looking too natural. So you can get a full coverage, heavy amount of product on, and it pushes it in so it doesn't look all cakey and crazy. It really just sets the face beautifully. It's amazing. And you can do as many layers as you want until you're happy with the coverage. Okay. All right, cool. So now I'm going to use a darker color. This is NC44.5. Again, these are all colors I collected in Dubai from overseas, but you can absolutely get like NC45, for example. That's half a shade different from this. That's available here in the US if you guys are in the US. And this is the Kumidori brush from Japanesque, which I just got in case you guys saw my Snapchat. I'm so in love with it. It is so beautiful, and it is traditional to the Japanese culture to have brushes that look like this. It's a part of the, you know, the original traditions that they had in makeup. So what I'm doing right now is I'm using this darker Studio Fix color to start sculpting her cheekbones where I contoured them. And I'm just doing layer after layer, and then you can buff it to smooth it out. And we're gonna do the same along the edges of her forehead too, to set all those contoured areas. And we can go along the jawline. We can bronze up her neck to match, you know, whatever you wanna do. This brush is so soft and pretty, and it just does a really good job. We can also go in and set the sides of the nose a little bit. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. Now we can start pumping this up with the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D. I'm going to be using the darker color here, the middle one, just to add a little bit more of that bronzy effect on the outer portion of her cheek and the outer portions of her forehead. And that's going to give a very three-dimensional look. And because this color is significantly darker than that Studio Fix powder, it's going to act as a beautiful bronzer for her. All right, so now that that's done, we can go back in with the Dose of Colors setting powder brush, and I'm going to mix the yellow color and the peach color from this palette. If you guys have Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is actually my #1 favorite, that would be the banana and the golden peach. Those are the two closest colors. And I'm just pressing it into all her highlight zones. So we're really brightening up the area around the eyes, all the way down to this area here, which is where the laugh line would be, if she had laugh lines. Okay, so right in there, that little triangle. See how the coverage, like layer after layer when you're doing it, it's just adding more coverage to her face, but noticing that the powders are what actually blurs her skin, so it looks even smoother and even more photoshopped. So I really don't want you guys to be afraid of using this much product unless you're using it on someone who really wants a, a natural look. This is definitely the opposite of natural. This is full glam, wild, crazy, like very heavy makeup, but it's not gonna feel or look heavy on your client because you're pressing in the powder, you're pressing in that cream from originally, you're doing it in such a tasteful manner, and everything looks very blended and beautiful at the end. So right now I'm just brightening up key components of her face. So all the bones that project is where I'm really brightening up. My God, looks amazing. I love it. And now with the smaller brush, this is the Morphe 520 brush, Morphe 520. I'm gonna go in her grooves around the eye and brighten those up too, so that on camera, they don't look as deep. So right in the groove, okay? As we do that, it's gonna start camouflaging. See the difference already? It's very subtle, but it makes a beautiful difference. So anytime you have a client with a little bit of a groove around her eye, just like concentrate a little extra product right in those grooved areas, and make sure you're also going all the way up to the side of the nose so that it all kind of blends in. I love it. You look great. Okay. So now technically the face balancing is done, the coverage is done. We've already created such a beautiful canvas for us to work with. Now it's time for color. So we got to add some blush. We got to add some cheek color to her to bring her back to life. So I'm going to go in with some of my favorite MAC colors, but here's what's going to be a little mind-blowing. I'm also going to use an eyeshadow from MAC that I really like. And that color is called Passionate. It is a hot pink. So I'm going to use Passionate with my blush brush. And she's going to smile. And we're just going to catch her smile with this, her cheek with this beautiful color called Passionate. It's an eyeshadow, but I think it's just so pretty as a blush for medium to deep skin tones. It just, does a good job. It almost gives like a berry effect. It's very beautiful. So until I'm happy with the amount, I'm just going to keep pressing it in. And now I can use a regular blush over it. Plum Foolery is what I normally use. This is Plum Foolery by MAC. I'll show you what it looks like. It's very universal, looks good on everyone. Ta-da, Plum Foolery. And I'm just going to use this to buff the rest so it looks a little bit more natural. Beautiful. Now that that's done, I'm going to go back in with whatever's left on this Dose of Colors brush. I'm going to press it in to fade her under eye highlight with her blush color. So it's a little bit more seamless. And now I'm ready for that pop of shimmer. So we're gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in Sun Dipped. I'm going with my other gorgeous fan brush. This is also from Japonesque. I'm gonna use Moonstone in Summer. And I'm just gonna add this right on the very top of her cheekbone. Now, normally if someone has like active acne or rough skin on this area, you don't wanna use a shimmer, but she is really smooth around her eye area. And that's why in our case, we can use a shimmer. Go ahead and turn a little bit and you can see this beautiful soft highlight. We're not overdoing it. Go ahead and turn my way now. We're definitely not overdoing it. We're just adding a little bit of that pearlescent shine over her blush. See that, how beautiful that looks? It's beautiful. And whatever's left, we're gonna put a little bit above her eyebrow where it's smooth too. We're gonna do a little bit on the nose. I can use my fingertip to do the tip of her nose, that little shine right there, above her lip, and a little bit on her chin. And what I always like to do after I do my concealer, my highlight shimmer, is like to go back with the Shade and Light palette or my banana color, which is like this yellow one, mix it with a little bit of peach, but more yellow, and brighten up that under eye again so that it really just melts into her shimmer color. So it's all about layering and perfecting. So I love to work in layers. I like to take my time with the face. I don't rush the face. You know, the eyes, surprisingly, you'll notice, is very quick. It's the face that just needs that extra TLC to look absolutely perfect. The blend has to be right. Her features have to be popping in just the right places. We have to bring out her beauty, her natural assets, and really bring it out so that the makeup isn't hiding it, it's actually accentuating it. So it really is an art. It really is knowing your balance between lights and darks, knowing your balance between contour, highlight, and color. So now that we're done with all that, if we want to brighten up the cheek a little bit, there's this color called Well Dressed, which is a pearly baby pink. And there's also this color called Sushi Flower from MAC, which is an eyeshadow. And I'm gonna mix that Sushi Flower with Well Dressed. And I'm gonna apply it just on the apple of her cheek for an iridescent pink glow. Oh my God, so pretty, very, very pretty. So now officially we are done with the face, and now we can move on to the eyes. Remember guys, if you have any questions about anything, if you want me to stop and explain a little bit more about anything, go ahead and go to my latest post on Instagram, and that would be, well, if you guys are watching this later, then it wouldn't be my latest post, but it's this video post. I want you to go on that post and comment on the bottom with what your question is so that after class, I can go in and read those questions and answer them for you because I want to make sure we're all on the same page here. So this is the post to ask your questions on. All right, now let's do the eyeshadow base. So I'm going to go in with Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and I'm going to go back in with that same concealer brush. This is the Morphe 428 brush. And I'm going to apply her eyeshadow base and blend the edges and make sure all of it has enough coverage. This is really what's going to make those fun colors of her eyeshadow pop. So it's very important that whatever eyeshadow base you use, that it has coverage in it. It's actually brightening up the eye area so that you can see the color better. If your eyeshadow base is too translucent and sheer, then it's really not doing the trick that you really need it to do. So I never use eyeshadow base that doesn't have coverage. I always use one that looks like concealer, like this. very clean, and very perfect. Okay, now that that's done, we're gonna start a little bit of eyeshadow and then go right into the eyebrows. So Modern Renaissance palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. We're gonna start off with this top color right here. This is Tempera. And I'm using my 239 brush from MAC. And I'm going right in here. And I am applying very full coverage highlight under her brow. So notice that I'm pressing it in, and then I'm only blending the bottom edge of it. I'm not blending the top edge because I want that top edge to be very bright. So again, we are pressing product in and only blending the bottom edge, not the top edge. It's got to be really bold because we still have a lot of crease blending and stuff to do, so I don't want to lose my underbrow highlight. Now that the underbrow highlight is on, I can just skip over and do the brows. So I'm going to go into my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil. I'm going to brush out any makeup that got stuck in her eyebrow hairs. And you can clean the spoolie just using alcohol or a brush cleaner containing alcohol. Okay. So we just smoothed that out. Now we're going to go in with the pencil. This is the color number 4. It is not dark. It is just the perfect brunette shade. And I don't want to go too dark with her because one thing I definitely wanted to show you guys is how to apply brow pencil and like how dark to go on someone that already has very defined eyebrows, very thick eyebrows. So for someone with thick eyebrows, I do not choose a dark color. I choose a color that's actually a couple shades lighter than her hair color. This is number 4, which is like a medium brown. And her hair is almost like black. It's like a dark brown. So I'm already going lighter with that. And as you can see, it doesn't look light at all. It totally matches. And now that I'm going in that inner half of the eyebrow, I'm going very light. So my strokes feel like feather strokes over here. But out here, it feels more like scribbling. And then remember, you have to blend the beginnings a little extra because you want it to be just a little more soft than the rest. The rest can be nice and bold, but that beginning half has got to be a little softer. Actually, our model had commented and said, I normally hate when my brows are filled in, but I really like the way you did them. What did you do? And I explained to her, I went really light in this inner part to the point where you didn't even really notice that I did anything there. But I focused a lot of my pencil right out here, and I extended your brow just a bit. And that's what kept your brow shape. It still looks like you. It doesn't look overbearing. And of course, with a lot of eye makeup on, your brows won't look overbearing at all. But yeah, the trick is to go a little heavier out here and a little lighter in here. So feather light strokes, blending, going darker on the outer parts. Another thing is, if you want to really sharpen up the arch, you got to move the hair up. So with someone that already has like good amount of hair, you literally have to move that hair up so you can scribble on their skin, not their hair. If you're just drawing eyebrow pencil on their hair, it's not going to last. You need to draw it on their skin so it actually shows and stays. Okay? So now that her brows are done, we have one more optional step we could do for the brows if you want, and that would be adding a brow powder over everything. So here's my Brow Pro palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Let's say I thought her brows just looked too gray or too dark or too black. What I could do is go into Caramel, which is a lighter, warmer brown. And I can go in and literally soften up her brow color and warm it up so it doesn't look so black or so gray. So I often use caramel to make the hair color just a little bit warmer, more golden toned, rather than like a dark chocolate. Okay. And lastly, with whatever's left on your concealer brush from the eyeshadow base, you can clean up the edges, fade the insides if you still think that they're a little too dark. And you're basically done with the brows. So those are fierce brows, but they're not too different from what she had before. All right, gorgeous, gorgeous. So now we can finish up with the eyes. So the first official step of the eyeshadow coloring is the crease. And we're gonna use this color called Passionate, which is that MAC one, Passionate. And I'm using this MAC 217 brush. And I'm just throwing it on her entire crease. So I'm focusing more on this outer section. I'm gonna create a little bit of a point here. See how it just kind of comes out into a point, and I'm just rolling it in nice and soft. Pretty. All right, same on the other side. Focusing on this outer cat eye area, going out into a point, and blending into the crease. And layering it until you're happy with the color payoff. Another thing you could do is lift, if you're not working with big eyes, lift the skin a little bit so that you have more space to work with and you can get a little bit more color saturation in a tighter space. Check that out. Super color saturation, bam. All right, now we're gonna go back to the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette, and we're going to go into the color called Love Letter, right on the top there. And I'm gonna darken up this outer portion of the eyelid, which meets the crease. So now it has this deeper, like magenta tone on this outer part. And I'm letting this color marry the lid with her crease. I'm in love with Love Letter. Okay, so now that we have that sexy cat eye going on, we're ready to fill in the lid with a beautiful golden yellow shade. And mind you, the way I pick my colors for brides that want a bunch of colors on their eyes, it really depends on their outfit. So this is an outfit that Vama Designs lent us for this class. And as you can see, I'll bring it up. As you can see, there's green, hot pink, yellow, blue, purple. I mean, there's a ton of colors on here that we can really play with and have fun with. And that's what I plan on showing you guys is how do I match the eyeshadow, but not make it look clownish with all these colors. It's very easy to look tacky, right? How do you do it in a very sophisticated, fun, and flirty way? So I don't want to throw pink all over the eye. I'm creating a crease with the pink, but I'm adding some other colors on the lower half of the eye. So the bottom area is going to have greens and blues in it so that it doesn't look overpowering and we have a good balance of colors. So it's not pink all over. It has a good mix. So this is the yellow color I'm going to be using. It is called Gold Mine by MAC. I'm taking a really thick amount with my brush and I'm doing the press and slide. For those of you who are new on DYFL, the press and slide is a technique I use in all my classes. It is something that I came up with over the years. And you know how a lot of people are like, don't sweep, pat, Well, I don't even pat. I press it on and I slide it down. And do you see how metallic and shiny that looks just with 1 or 2 swipes? This is what will allow the pigment of your eyeshadow to stick to your eyelid and literally last all night, all day if you sleep in it and wake up the next morning, which I do not recommend, but I mean, you know, some of y'all do it. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it before, and when I do the press and slide on myself, that eyeshadow lasts like forever. So this is what I do on all my clients. It's like my guarantee that your stuff is gonna look poppin' all night long, no matter if you cry or if you're in the rain, doesn't matter. It's gonna be amazing. So press and slide that color, this is Goldmine, all over the lid. I focus most of my pigment on that center. Check that out. 1 layer. And then I fill in everything else. Press and slide saved many artists time. I was gonna say lives, but their time, because instead of sitting there and patting eyeshadow, patting, and then half the product falls on the cheek because you're not really letting it stick to the skin, the press and slide eliminates fallout when done correctly because you're actually pressing it into the skin. It stays. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. Now, there's another color from MAC that I really like. It's kind of a rusty orangey red color. And I think, let me see what it is. It's called Coppering. Coppering, this color here. And I'm going to use this with the same brush, same 239 by MAC. And I'm going to press and slide it right in between my dark shade and my yellow shade. And do you notice how pressing and sliding creates that really bright color? But then if you just slide a little bit and overlap between those 2 shades, it almost looks like a perfect sunset gradient. So you have this dark magenta fading into this beautiful orangey rusty color, which fades into this gorgeous golden yellow. And you saw, I didn't even blend. I just patted it, I slid it on and then patted the overlapping area. And it took 2 seconds and it created the most beautiful transition between her lid and her crease. Again, press and slide right in between and then just pat to overlap the line of demarcation. And now we have this super sexy gradient on her eye. It's just insane how beautiful this looks in person. I hope it's translating on video just as gorgeous because I cannot get over the fact like this is so stunning on her. I wish you guys were here in person to see what I'm seeing. But again, I hope it's translating well on camera. So now I'm gonna go into one of my favorite brushes in the world. This is Morphe 507. Morphe 507, I'm gonna take this little piece right here and I'm going to shove a nice dark color in the outer corner of her eye. And that dark color is going to be a super, super dark purple, one of the darkest purples that MAC makes. And it is called Graphology. This one here, Graphology. And I'm just using the tip of that brush and I'm just shoving this color right in this outer V, ever so slightly. And notice I barely moved my hand. I just threw it on this little tiny little V area. I'm not blending it over the pink. I'm not blending it over the orange. I'm just shoving it right in that corner so she has some depth in her eye. This is for someone who definitely wants that overall deep shape, that almond eye shape to really stand out and look nice and deep in that corner without darkening up the whole look. So I'm only doing the V, and then now that nothing is left on my brush, it just overlaps a little bit, but I'm not really blending. I just want to get that across to you guys Don't sit there and blend, because then you're gonna lose that depth. If you blend too much, you're not gonna get that beautiful depth out of your color. So do not overblend. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I say it in all my classes. Please do not overblend. Please know when to stop. When you're happy, just end it there and do not overdo it. Okay. Now technically her top eyeshadow is done. I'm gonna work a little bit in her inner corner tear duct. Completely up to you what you wanna do with her tear duct. We could do like a white pearly color. We could go even lighter with her gold, or I have like a greenish gold called Gorgeous Gold. I think it's called Gorgeous Gold, which I think I kinda wanna use that because it is really, really pretty. Yeah, Gorgeous Gold. Let's try it. Let's try it and see what we think here. Okay. I'm going to use the end of my Vera Mona eyeshadow brush. And I'm going to shove this color right in the tear duct. And go ahead and look up again. And right in there. That's very pretty. I think that's really cool. Okay, tear duct and underneath. Close again. I'm going to do a little bit more up here. There we go. All right. That's a beautiful gradient. It has a little bit of that lime color in it. Very exotic. All right. That was Gorgeous Gold, you guys. All right. Now that we're done with that part, I'm going to go ahead and start with her eyeliner, and then we're going to really start adding beautiful shades underneath on the lower lash line. So for now, we're going to go right into eyeliner. I'm going to clean this eyeliner pen real quick. Give it a good wipe down to sanitize. And this is the Tartist liner. This is the double take eyeliner. So one side has a water, I think it's waterproof or water resistant. It's pretty amazing. It's a pencil, and then the other side is a liquid liner. And by the way, you just spray alcohol on the liquid liner to clean it in between uses. And I'm using the double take pencil right along her lower lash line. And I'm going to bleed it over the edge just a bit. Okay, same on the other side. Going right into corner to corner and then bleeding over the bottom edge. Next, I'm going to grab a shadow shield because I want to demonstrate to you how I would use this if I, like one day I'm feeling a little shaky and I don't want to get black eyeshadow all over her. This is how I do it. I'm going to dip into my black eyeshadow. This is Noir by Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow. It's found in my palette, my discontinued palette, my limited edition. Actually, it wasn't discontinued, it was just limited. This top color is called Noir. She still makes it. You can still buy it on the Anastasia Beverly Hills website. And I'm dipping in this cutie pie little brush, Morphe 515. I'm going to hold up my shadow shield and look up to the ceiling. I'm going to press in my black eyeshadow all the way from corner to corner. Okay? If there's anything you want to clean off, use the shadow shield. And the coolest part is there's no fallout. Even if I'm feeling shaky, low blood sugar, whatever your issue is, I know artists like us, we are out and about, we forget to eat. So if you ever feel shaky, always, even if you're like me where we almost never have fallout issues, but there are days where I'm shaky. There are days where I'm not feeling good or feeling myself. So I always have a shadow shield packet in my kit just in case. Just in case. By the way, I think it's like $5 at Walmart. It's really, really affordable. Okay, now that that's done, we're gonna go ahead and with the same brush, actually no, I wanna show you this other brush. I'm gonna go back to the 507 little baby brush that we were using earlier. 507, this little squirrel guy. And I'm gonna dip into that same dark purple color, Graphology. And she's gonna look up to the ceiling. And I'm just going to use the tip of the brush to apply a little bit of Graphology to her lower lash line. Just on that outer portion. It's gonna look really smoky, okay? Again, right on that outer portion, creating a nice smoky effect. Ooh, so sexy. And then if there is any dust that falls, make sure you flick it off right away. All right, now, here's the fun part, you guys. This is where I'm gonna add a pop of color and it's gonna look insane. I have these 3 things. You guys are gonna be like, oh my God, what are they? I'm so sorry, but 2 out of these 3 are discontinued. Those are the MAC ones. These things called Liquid Last liners. I don't know if they brought them back. If they did, please let me know. I haven't gone shopping in years, actually. I just, you know, save my good products and like never use them like these. So let me know if you guys know if they have them. But Liquid Last eyeliner, MAC. One color is called Aqualine, which is this one, which we're gonna use. This blue one is called Blue Horizon. So that's optional too. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix this teal and this lime green color to create her perfect green. Now this lime green color is from LA Splash. I believe they still make this. And it's eyeliner in Toxic Lime. Toxic Lime. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna apply a chunk of this Toxic Lime and a chunk of this Aquadisiac right next to it, okay? Now, I'm going to use a tight brush. This is a small brush from NYX Cosmetics. It's like a little concealer brush kind of a deal, I'm not sure. But I don't use it for concealer, I use it for lips or for a liquid liner type of deal. And I'm gonna mix the teal and that lime green to create like a parrot green. And we're going to run this color along her tear duct all the way to about halfway down. And I'm gonna use more teal over here. Okay, so it's a little bit more lime on the inner part and it goes into a teal. So I'm mixing lime and teal to create a lighter lime, a darker lime for that inner part, and then going into more teal for this part. And do you see how bright and insane that looks? It's so cool to be able to use a liquid color like this. But of course, I'm not gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna set it with some powder. Not that it needs to be set, it dries like that, but it's very neon and I need it to be a little bit more wearable because this is supposed to be for, you know, one of her wedding events. So I'm gonna go in with 2 colors. I'm gonna go in with Juxt, which is a soft lime green shade from MAC. And I'm gonna use this to just soften up the edges of that lime green. So nothing looks chunky, basically. Beautiful. And now I'm gonna go in with this color called Humid, which is a shimmery dark green. And I'm going to soften the transition between that teal and Graphology. Oh my God, beautiful. Oh, I love it. Okay, and I always like to do this other thing when I'm doing eyeshadow. I always like to go back in and re-brighten her under eyes. I just have this thing about it. I need more contrast always, so I continuously go back in and re-brighten. Don't mind me. I just do this. Okay. All right, now we're gonna do the top eyeliner and then we'll do the lashes and everything. So for the top eyeliner, I'm going back in with the Tarte Double Take liner, and this side has the liquid, so I'm gonna show you how I do a liquid liner. Go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to lift up her skin and start on this outer portion and just work my way in. And I'm gonna go really thin as I go inward, just so I'm not creating like any big blobs or anything. And I love how easy this eyeliner is. It has so much like product, like liquid in it. So it, so far, even with cleaning it with alcohol, it has not dried up on me or frayed. So now I'm just creating a very sharp wing, which definitely takes practice. So don't be hard on yourself if you're just not getting it. It will take some practice. I'll make sure next month I'm adding an eyeliner class to your schedule for those of you who need a little extra help. I'll dedicate an entire class to just eyeliners, different types of eyeliners and how to use them. And turn my way. Okay, we're gonna wait for that to dry. You can look back here. We're gonna let that dry for a little bit. I would give it about a minute or so, and then we can curl her lashes and add mascara. Okay. So I'm gonna grab my lash curler. This is the one from Shiseido. This is my favorite lash curler. She's gonna keep looking down. I'm gonna lift up her lid and get really close and clamp. All right. And the mascara I'm gonna use is, of course, I only have like 2 favorites. So I'm going to be using my Hypnose Drama Waterproof Mascara. And I'm gonna start with the bottom lashes first, and then I'll do the tops. So go ahead and look up to the ceiling. I'm just coating her very long, gorgeous bottom lashes. Gonna fan it to let it dry a little. Okay, fanning it. Okay, now she's gonna look straight ahead, and we're gonna just make sure there's no major clumps or anything. Yeah, it looks very nice. Now she can look down, and I'm gonna get right in there and coat all the rest of her lashes. I'm using my thumbnail as my shield, but if you guys don't have nails like mine, just use a shadow shield. Pretty easy stuff. Just stick it right there, and then you can go crazy with the mascara without any risk of getting all over the eyeshadow. Okay, open. Beautiful. I'm just gonna separate this and add a little more here. Yeah, looks good. Okay. All right, now that mascara is done and her lashes are looking amazing, I'm gonna show you how I customize a false lash look, especially with her lashes already being so long. I don't feel like I really need a strip. I think I just wanna double up on what she already has. So I'm going to be using the Le Petit Triples by House of Lashes. These are amazing because they're not the typical single lashes. They're like grouped up into like a fan of lashes on each knot. So it's really, really cool. I'm going to also use the House of Lashes glue to glue them on. And yes, I know House of Lashes glue is really hardcore. It's very hard to remove. I still see a little glue left over from yesterday. But I just gotta tell you, it's my favorite glue. I know it's hard to remove, but it is the bomb. I've never used a glue better than this. So, and it's latex free, so it's pretty amazing. All right, so I'm just gonna put some of the glue on the back of my hand here. And I'll use my Anastasia tweezers. And I'm going to start applying these singles. So I'm using a really long one first. We're going to wait for the glue to get a little sticky before we actually pop them on, because I just don't want them sliding all over the place. So we're going to fan it until it dries a little. Don't her eyes look absolutely stunning, you guys? This is such a fun class. I never get to really play with color, especially because my brides just don't want to use color. They just want the same old like gold glitter and black corners or whatever. But I really want to bring that back. So that's why I brought this class in. I want our brides to get inspired again and have fun again with their makeup. And this isn't necessarily wedding makeup. This is like a pre-wedding party. So this is something much more playful. It's so perfect for like dance performances, Sangeet nights, henna nights, engagements, you know, anything that requires a more playful, fun, young look. I think the actual wedding day should be, of course, much more neutral and traditional. But oh my gosh, for my henna night, I went crazy with my makeup. I matched my Afghan out. I was wearing an Afghan outfit because it was an Afghan theme. And I matched all the colors of my Afghan outfit. I had so much fun with it. It looked so exotic and pretty in pictures. And then for my wedding, I went very traditional. I kept it like golds and coppers and browns. So, especially if you're gonna have multiple functions, I think one of them should be a fun look. So I'm just adding these clusters onto her eyes. So it looks really full. She already has length. I just want it to look fuller. Nice. We're gonna just add a couple more. Okay, go ahead and look straight ahead. Let's see how, ooh, very spiky. Okay, cool. So while the glue dries, we're gonna go ahead and do the lips. So the glue is gonna dry clear. If it's not fully dry by the end of class, I'm just gonna go ahead and color them with some liquid liner or something, just so that you guys can take your pictures of her and enjoy the night. I know I've kept you here a long, long time. So for her lipstick, you know, one of the things that I really wanted to point out this time was how to choose the right lipstick for someone who does not want to go super colorful on their lips. I know a lot of you out there love going colorful for the eyes, but may not feel super comfortable on the lips. Maybe we don't want to go super hot pink, maybe we want to go more neutral. So for the video that we did, we ended up with a very neutral pink. So we're going to start off with Soar lip liner. This is the same lip liner I used on her yesterday, so I haven't sharpened it yet. It hasn't been used after that. And I'm just applying along her natural lip line. This is Soar lip liner by MAC. It's a neutral pink kind of a shade. It goes with everything. It's my all-time favorite, in case you guys didn't already know this. Been using it for like 10 years, maybe longer, I don't know. I've been using it like literally forever. My entire career basically, and all my brides just look amazing in this color. And now I'm gonna whip out my handy dandy lip palette. This is something I made out of some of my favorite lipsticks. And so this side is all the roses, the bottom side is all the warm tones. So I'm just gonna mix a few random colors and I'll tell you which colors they are. I'm going to start off with Cosmo, which is this color right here. This is Cosmo. And I'm just applying it all over, corner to corner. Stunning for a more neutral look. And then I'm going to use this color. It's a lip gloss by Anastasia Beverly Hills called Kristen. And that's more of a brownie lip gloss, but it has a little hint of mauve in there, just a little hint. So we're gonna put that on next. I concentrated it right in the center, and then I spread it outward toward the corners. And that creates a really nice neutral color, which isn't too pink, it isn't too brown, it's just right in between. And it doesn't look bad at all with whatever she has going on. It matches her cheek color really well, and it does not clash with anything. I think at this point, I'm just gonna go in and re-brighten around her eyes because I'm just so obsessed with that. And I'm gonna go in with my smaller brush here and go ahead and look up. All right, gorgeous. And then whatever else, I'm just gonna go around the nose. Cleaning your nose ring. Okay, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with this look. I think you look like you're about to walk down the aisle with some fun Bhangra team and walk up to your husband. I'm just gonna darken up this area in the hair. We're gonna fix this up. And then I'll give you guys a really good look at the whole thing. We're gonna zoom out a bit so you can see the outfit too. But for now, before we zoom out, I want you guys to see her whole face. So she's gonna do a little posing for you guys. If you wanna screenshot any of this, feel free to do it. Hashtag DressYourFaceLive on your posts so that we can go through and like your, your pages, like your pictures that you post from today's class. I would love for you guys to recreate this, by the way. This is my challenge to you. I really want to see your recreations of this look, and I will Snapchat my favorites. I want to give you guys some love back. So if you recreate this, you can recreate the hair as well. I'm going to teach the hair next week, but if you don't want to recreate the hair, it's fine. If you recreate the makeup, post it on your IG. Tell me to check your page. Hashtag DressYourFaceLive and tell the world I learned this on Dress Your Face Live. How'd I do? And I will pick my favorite ones and I will blast you all over my Snapchat so that the world can know who you are. You could do this on yourself or on a model or on a family or friend. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to see that you learned what I taught you today. And look how stunning she looks. I'm so happy that we were able to show you not only how to perfect the face, but how to perfect the eyes and actually have fun with your makeup for once. Enough of this boring stuff. I really want to bring color back, and I think we're ready for that. So we're going to zoom out so you can see her outfit a little bit. And now you can really see how that green pops in with the green from her dupatta, and you can see how all the colors of her eyes really complement the entire outfit look. And it's just so regal and so beautiful. And you can see a little bit of her hair, her flowers and everything, and how that also complements this. But I don't want to tease you too much about the hair because next week we are going to air the hair class. It's not going to be a live class like this one. It's going to be a full-length hair class, which we already recorded for you guys. And you're going to learn how I chose the flowers and what we did to create this stunning masterpiece of a look. I wish that I had another event that I could redo this on myself, because I would rock it. I think I could have fun with this. But look how beautiful. Everything just looks so good. Thank you, my dear, for, traveling all the way over here and being my model. You are stunning, and the world loves you now, especially in that video. You just lit up the camera so well, and I'm very, very happy to have met you and that you went ahead and volunteered for this. So thank you very much. And thank you guys for watching and hanging in there with us. And next week, stay tuned for the hair tutorial for this exact look, so you guys can do a whole recreation contest if you want, okay? Love you guys. And oh, you know what, before I forget, let me just make sure I answered all of the questions in class. In case you guys have any extra questions, let me just make sure I tackle them. I'm not sure if there are too many questions here, but I'll just double check just to make sure. So, okay, so Boutique by Rania Queen is asking, what are the alternatives of the Cinema Secrets palette? You can use Graftobian. So Graftobian is an option, and you could use RCMA. There's a ton of stage makeup palettes out there that you can absolutely use. I've used Graftobian and I loved it. I actually started as a makeup artist with Graftobian. That's my entire kit as far as foundations were concerned were all Graftobian before I went on to MAC. So I very much love Graftobian, but Cinema Secrets were also one of my first few products as well. So I had Cinema Secrets singles. I didn't have their palettes until later, and I realized, oh my God, it's so similar, and they're amazing. So Cinema Secrets and Graftobian are very similar. Okay, so Makeup by Sanaya is asking, from Indonesia, hello. I'd like to know how you decide when a bride needs a soft contour powder only or a cream contour on her wedding day. Like, how do you make that call? Or do you ask the bride, or is it your call to make? And by the way, you rock as always. Amazing. Look forward to you trying soon. Aw, thank you, my love. Okay, so what makes the call is basically what the bride tells me. I kind of have a little chat with her before we get started. Sometimes we even have a consultation, but usually we don't. Bride schedules are busy, my schedule is busy, and my brides just trust me. At this point, I have enough work on my page where they just know, like, okay, we're in good hands, whatever. But like when I first started, I used to do trials. And I would always ask the bride, even now, before I get started, I just kind of quickly talk to the bride and I'm like, okay, how heavy do you want me to go with your contour? Do you really want it poppin', or do you want it to look subtle? And if they say subtle, I'll just use the powder. Sometimes I might use a little cream if I feel like she needs it. But if she says subtle, then I'm going to stick to more of a subtle technique with powders. If she says, I want my contour poppin', I want the whole 9 yards, I want that whole dress your face effect, then I'm going to go in, I'm going to give her that dress your face effect. And we actually sometimes take pictures of the whole, I snap the whole process if they let me, and usually they love being on my Snapchat. So it's really fun to be able to snap the steps, and they like to see that contour, later on. So like the day after their wedding, they'll text me and be like, can you send me the video? Can I save it? And they'll see the whole thing and they relive the memory that we made together. So it's kind of cool. Okay, so Beauty Beholds is asking, so if I'm doing a client with undone eyebrows that spread over the lid, would I be putting heavy concealer and foundation on the hair to cover it and give it shape, or just let it be? Yes, if they won't allow you to tweeze it, then yes, I would cover it with thicker concealer and then set it with some light color powder as well, so that it doesn't smear all over when you're trying to blend eyeshadow over it, and that should do the trick. I've actually done that trick with the where is it? Oh my gosh, I just used it too. The Soft Ochre Paint Pot. It's somewhere in my kit, sorry. Soft Ochre Paint Pot, which is the eyeshadow base that I used on her. It's a light color, it looks like concealer, and it's very heavy. So I've actually patted that on areas where the eyebrows weren't plucked, and then I patted it down with a light color eyeshadow, and it stayed pretty well, and it brightened it up. I mean, up close you could still see it, but in pictures it was not detectable at all. It looked amazing. Okay, another question, also by Makeup by Sanaya, is asking, someone with a fold under the eye, like a sunken in curve under the eyes, besides for hiding with an orange concealer, are there any other ways to camouflage that? So any areas that are really sunken in, like remember how I was like going into this area a lot? That area that's sunken in, I use a bright tone, like a bright apricot tone. And then any areas that are poofing out, you want to use a little bit darker apricot tone. And that way it just looks more even and flat. Okay. Okay, Pinked373 is asking, how do you make a narrow face look wider? So I had that problem with my face actually because I don't know, I'm sure you guys noticed, I lost so much weight between last year and this year. Actually, last year I was already on that weight loss trend because I was on my world tour. Like in the beginning of my world tour, I was like round, fluffy, you know, normal. And then towards the end of my world tour, I had lost so much weight because I was on my feet all the time, running around like a mad woman. And I was watching what I was eating. I was purposely dieting because I just didn't like how my pictures were turning out and I wanted to be in my tip-top shape. So I was watching what I was eating and everything, and I lost so much weight. And then I got my teeth done, which look amazing, but then I couldn't eat for a month and a half because they hurt so bad during the healing process. And so I did not eat for a really long time, and I lost so much volume on my face. I even had to get, well, I didn't have to, but I opted to get cheek injections to see if I can whiten my face a little bit. And that only made me look even skinnier. And I was like, oh my God. So now what I have to do is when I contour, instead of contouring up and down, which I don't wear contour every day. I'm sorry, I live like hell these days. But when I do contour to go out, instead of contouring up and down, I curve back up to my nose. So it's like a straight contour like this instead of like this. I hope that makes sense. So creating a horizontal line, and it stretches out your face so it doesn't look so narrow. I have that same problem, chickadee. I guess we're never happy and we're never perfect no matter what, right? Yeah. Round faces want to look all skinny, and then like skinny faces want to look round again. I miss my volume. All right, I think we are done with the questions. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh my God, 2 more questions. Okay, these are the last 2 questions, then we have to go. So Glam Up by Jalpa is asking, what's the best way to hide chickenpox marks on the face? I really loved your overall makeup on your model. You're a magician. Thank you so much. So same with chickenpox is like the way I do it with acne scarring too. Any dips or potholes, you want to make sure you are pushing in a really thick pore minimizing balm. So Benefit Cosmetics has this, the Porefessional, which I used on her too. Not that she had any craters or any dips in her skin, but she has old acne marks, and so I wanted to make sure that those are all smoothed out. So you're referring to deeper potholes in the skin. This still does the same thing. It's not going to completely fill it up because it's not silicone. It's not like a mask you're putting on. You still have to kind of do it in layers. But remember, stippling and those type of techniques really fill in any holes in the face or any pock marks. So hopefully that should help you. And final question from Marley_Glam. Do you suggest putting a translucent powder on the eyelid to help the color blend, the eyeshadow blend? Do you think it would make the eyeshadow pop more? I actually never put translucent powder on the eyelid ever. I straight up put eyeshadow over my eyeshadow base with no translucent powder in between. And I know that they say, oh, translucent powder is going to help you blend it better, but you guys know me by now. I hate blending. I'm not a blending person. I throw on color because I want it to be saturated. I want it to be so heavy and so bold. And the way I apply it and the way I flick my wrist and the way I move my brushes creates that blend for me that I don't need a translucent powder to do that. So as you see my classes and as you notice, so especially today's class, you could watch it over and over once it's on the website, and you can see I did not actually, I mean, you do go back and forth a little bit with the crease. Yes, that part you're blending. But as you can see, we don't really need a translucent powder there. If you're having major trouble with chunky eyeshadow being chunked onto the eye, then I would say, okay, there's 2 things to do. Either use your translucent powder to get a little bit of movement going, so it's not like herky-jerky on the eye, or maybe you need to hold the brush a little farther away. So for example, if you hold the brush like this and you're coloring, it's gonna be a little strong. It's not gonna blend as better. But if you're holding your brush from the end of the handle and you're going in like this, it's going to flick and blend a lot better. So less pressure by holding it towards the end of the handle, not in the beginning. So middle to end is fine. And if you have to use the translucent powder, you can. All right, we are done for the day. Thank you so much. I love you guys, and we'll see you next week for the hair class. Mwah. Bye.